Hey guys, and welcome to this YouTube video. My name is Audima. I'm a recording artist and sound designer, and if you clicked on this video, you might have two questions. Number one, what is Sway actually? And number two, is it actually worth it? I will try to answer both of them in this video. Quick context, Sway is a motion tracking music controller, which means it doesn't produce sound in itself, but it sends MIDI signals to your computer. Think of it as a keyboard or a pad controller, but instead of pushing buttons, you use hand gestures in the air to trigger effects and sounds, which is pretty cool. Quick disclaimer before we start. This video is sponsored by Audima Labs, but the opinion you're about to hear is only mine, so this will be an honest review. I just want to be upfront with you guys, so let's start. First thing I noticed when I took the device out of the box, it's lighter than I expected. Like, I thought it would feel heavier. But that's a good thing at the end of the day, because you can just throw it in the backpack, take it around, be a bit more flexible. Another thing that caught me off guard when I took this device out of the box was the fact that there is basically no symbols on any button. And you can turn it on, but the buttons won't tell you what they do. And that's fine. You just need to get like 20 minutes to get into it. The good thing is you get like this little card here with like different QR codes with get started, software and resources. So you get all the information. It's actually quite easily accessible, but that's something I want to mention. The star of the show, of course, is the LED strip on top of the device. Underneath it, 16 sensors that track your hand movement. The LEDs themselves are just visual feedback. They show you and the audience what you are doing while triggering the device with your hand movement. That's the whole magic. In the middle, there's a small screen with 6 buttons above it. Those 6 buttons give you access to the 6 different pages on Sway. Each one changes how the LED reacts to your hand and how you trigger effects, notes, and so on. Okay, the next section I would like to talk about is actually what you can use Sway for and its motion tracking capabilities when it comes to using in your music. And in my personal opinion, there are 3 areas in which Sway shines the most. Number 1, opening and closing filters of any kind. I will show you in a minute how that works, but basically you can use a hand glide movement to open up a filter and close a filter in Sway, which is insanely cool, just with one hand gesture. Second one is triggering effects by any kind. You can basically use Sway as an on-off button if you hit mid-air over a certain area or region. And you can also distinguish with the height of your hand how hard you want to trigger that effect, which is pretty cool. And you can do it with 4 effects at the same time. And the third thing is playing notes. So remember, Sway can do more than I will show you in this video, and you can play notes also in a different way than I will show you in this video, but I will focus on the main one and the most simple way to do it. And you have like 4 different regions which you can hit the air and basically raise your hand, and with raising your hand you play different notes. It's actually very cool that you can do that on Sway, although I would like to add that it's not that easy to find the right notes, especially when you are in a performing situation, because you're so focused on different things, especially in my case with different controllers running at the same time, that playing the right note can be hit or miss. Don't get me wrong, I think it's still cool, and I think that if you practice more and more, and if I practice more and more, I can get better with it. But it's not that easy to start with, but still a very cool visual asset. I know some of you might be a bit confused on how I could be able to play notes on Sway and how to trigger effects. The answer is MIDI mapping, but I will explain that in a part later. Now let's talk about MIDI mapping, because of course, as I said before, Sway is a MIDI controller, so it needs you to tell you which effect to trigger. And the cool thing is, MIDI mapping is quite easy. Every zone that you see interacting with your hand has a dedicated MIDI number. So whenever you want to connect Sway with an effect, in my case with Ableton Live, the only thing they need to do is go into the MIDI mode in Ableton, click on the effect they want to trigger with Sway, then use your hand basically to trigger the MIDI signal on Sway, and they both connect, and that's it basically. Pretty straightforward. Of course, you guys know the workflow if you worked with a MIDI controller before, so Sway is no different, but I still want to mention it. What I just told you is my workflow, how I map Sway with my Ableton Live set. The thing is, you can use Sway also with different DAWs as long as they're MIDI capable, and also DJ softwares. And for the techies out there that are quite into MIDI controller customization, Audima Labs actually gives you a software called the Sway that ships with this device that gives you an additional possibility to customize every single region of the device in terms of the MIDI numbers, how sensitive it reacts basically, and how every one of the single 6 pages actually mapped or looks like or interacts with you. And that's pretty cool just for the people that are quite techy and into it. For others, of course, you can just use the standard layout, but I think it's not bad to know that. Okay, I talked a lot about this device already, and let me show you just a glimpse of what I make out of it in my live set and how I use it. That's one way to do it. That's not the way to do it. I think depending on the user, Sway can be used very different, but that's the way how I implement it in my live set. And I hope that it gives you a good glimpse of what you can do with this device and how you can implement it in your live set. Hope you enjoy. To wrap up this video, of course, I also want to mention that this device is not perfect. I do like it, as you might have heard in the video before, but there are some flaws that I still want to mention. The first one is the buttons that you push to change the modes or pages on Sway. The problems are not the buttons in themselves because they work, but they're black on a black background. And especially in dark environments, it's a bit difficult to find them easily and quickly. And especially when you have all of your live set in front of you and a lot of lights are blinking and you got a lot of stuff going on, hitting the buttons and finding the buttons actually not that easy. So something to keep in mind. Second point, due to the fact that this device has no symbols, when it comes to those 8 buttons that are near to the pads on the left and on the right, they're a bit confusing because you don't know what they actually do. And I get it, you want to have a device that is flexible with different software, so that's cool. For me, still, it was a bit weird when having connected Sway to Ableton and the MIDI mapping was already going on, that I had to push every single button to understand what they actually do. And that was kind of distracting because it was quite difficult for me to memorize what each button does. And again, that's maybe only me, but I still thought I should mention it. Third point, the MIDI mapping, at least in Ableton from time to time, was not working. What I mean by that is that encoders were always working, the buttons were always working, and the sensors, of course, also. But when it came to the pads, from time to time, some pads didn't react when I pushed them. After trying a couple of times, they reacted again, and it's easy to fix actually. You just go into the MIDI section in Ableton, you just take out Audima Labs and go to none, and then go again on Audima Labs Sway, and then it works again perfectly. But there was an issue that I ran into a couple of times. Okay, to wrap up this video, just want to share my honest take on it after all this information you got. First of all, do I love Sway? Yes, I do think it's a great device. I do think that it's, for me at least, a noticeable step up using it in my live set because it makes everything a bit more intuitive, a bit easier. Is Sway for producers? I would say no. Is Sway for performers by any type? Yes, because it doesn't matter if you're a DJ, if you're like a producer that plays your music also live with live set, if you're someone who plays an instrument and want to connect Ableton with it or any other DAW, it's a MIDI controller, so you can map it how you like it. And the possibilities as a MIDI controller are quite endless, but the focus is on the performance side. I will definitely make a follow-up video in a year or so, just to be honest with you guys on how I changed my workflow maybe and how I implemented it even more or even less in my workflow. But after 3 months, that's my final verdict. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hope I see you in the next one. And a new song is coming very soon. That's all from me. Hope you enjoy your day. Have a good one. Bye.